Welcome, debtors and borrowers, to Bankruptcy Bailout, because debt ruins lives, not bankruptcy. My name is Matt Berkus, and I'm a bankruptcy and student loan relief attorney. And today we're going into the weeds on what the heck is happening with student loan forgiveness. So sit back, buckle up. We're going to talk about the current status of Biden's student loan forgiveness program, what other options are available, and what is likely to happen going forward. But as you know, the bad news is that Biden's $10,000/$20,000 forgiveness program is on hold for the foreseeable future. The Department of Education has closed down the application portal, so you cannot submit an application. And if you have an application pending, it's just going to sit in limbo pending the various lawsuits that have been filed challenging the executive branch's authority to implement this program. So, with that in context out of the way, let's talk about those lawsuits. The primary lawsuit, the one that is most concerning, is the one out of the federal district court in northern Texas, because that court made a substantive ruling that the executive branch doesn't have authority to implement this program, that their legal basis, the HEROES Act from 2013, is not a sufficient statutory authorization for the executive branch to authorize this $10,000, $20,000 forgiveness, and that any such forgiveness along those lines, like carte blanche forgiveness, has to come from Congress, and there has to be specific congressional authority to do it. So that is the main substantive ruling, and that's the one that has effectively killed this program for the time being. Now, that case, the Department of Justice has appealed that case, and it's now in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals pending as I'm making this video. And it's unclear, what's going to happen with that case. But let's be honest here, we're talking months, well into next year, probably before we see some resolution. Because however the Fifth Circuit rules, it's going to get appealed to the Supreme Court, and then the issue is whether the Supreme Court's going to entertain an appeal. So for all intents and purposes, this Biden student loan forgiveness program for the $10,000, $20,000 is dead in the water. There's a second lawsuit that was filed by primarily the state of Missouri, but other states as well, challenging the law. And that issue, the Biden program, is now subject to a preliminary injunction issued by the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals. However, that's not a substantive ruling. What happened there is that the states filed a lawsuit in federal district court, and the federal district court dismissed the case. The federal district court dismissed the case, saying the states lacked standing. So the states appealed to the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals, saying, no, we have standing, and in the interim, can you issue a preliminary injunction about this program going into effect? Well, the Eighth Circuit said, yes, we're going to issue that preliminary injunction. Okay, so again, that at least temporarily kills the Biden program, and right now they're in the process of considering the appeal about whether the states have standing to pursue their claims on this matter, and then whatever the outcome there is going to be whatever it is. But there's two attacks taking place against this student loan forgiveness program. One is, and both basically relate to the idea that the executive branch simply doesn't have the statutory authority to sort of create and implement this program out of the blue, that you need a law. And let's give the devil his due here. I mean, even the Biden administration and even Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi are on the record, over a year ago saying, we're not sure that the executive branch has the authority to offer carte blanche forgiveness. And it's taken the Biden administration 2 years to come around to something that they thought that they could do. And once it was announced and implemented, we expected these lawsuits to happen, and federal district court in northern Texas said no, they don't have, the executive branch does not have the authority to do it, and the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals is at least is sort of running their process of considering whether the states, in their argument, have proper standing to challenge this law as well. So the net result of all that is that you can sort of scratch off this $10,000, $20,000 forgiveness, at least for the foreseeable future, easily well into next year. So you better not be counting on it. So the question becomes, well, what do you do now? As I'm making this video, the payment pause on federal student loans is set to expire at the end of the year, December 31st, 2022. I know several opinion articles have been published here and there talking about how the president should extend that payment pause pending the litigation on forgiveness. So that's an open issue on whether that will take place. But you should probably be preparing. You should probably be preparing for your student loans to go back into repayment. Now, some good news is there's been a lot of relief offered sort of around the edges of the student loan world. So, for example, all direct federal student loans that were in default are going to be automatically taken out of default status. Okay, that was announced months ago. Once they go into repayment, all federal student loans, all direct federal student loans are going to come out of default status, so you don't have to go through the process of rehabilitating the student loans or reconsolidating them to get eligible to get back on a repayment plan. They're just going to sort of wave the executive branch wand and make that happen. So, and that's a really good thing. And a new income-driven repayment program has been announced, which should go into effect, I believe, July 1st, 2023. And that one has more favorable terms. It only requires 5% of your disposable income. Plus, the way they calculate disposable income is more favorable. Not to get too technical about it, but how they do it is they take your household income, they used to subtract 150% of the poverty level, and that was your disposable income. Now they're going to subtract 225% of the poverty level from your household income to determine what your monthly payment program or what your monthly payment will be under the new program. And also that program is going to be for 20 years, but if you have less than $12,000 of student loan debt, the program will be only 10 years. So you're going to have a more favorable, easier payment plan option going forward for your federal direct student loans. Defaults are going to be cured. And there's been a streamlining of public service loan forgiveness. So if you're eligible for that, and there's been a whole slew of activity that kind of wrapped itself up here at the end of October regarding getting people with older student loans, the FFELP loans, into the direct loan program so they could do public service loan forgiveness. That's all done now. Okay, so if you didn't do that, don't shoot the messenger. But we'll hope maybe the Biden administration will figure something out or to do anything. But I think we're coming to the end game on a lot of what they're going to do. But in any event, presumably that process is going to be more streamlined and easier to do, and they're going to give the borrowers the benefit of the doubt. And I've already seen this in practice here in the last few months in assisting people with public service loan forgiveness. There's still the borrower defense program, and that's particularly directed to those who went to for-profit schools who got defrauded. So you're talking schools like Corinthian colleges, art institutes. There's been a lot of rulings coming out about forgiveness options for those. And so you'll want to, if you went to a for-profit school, then you'll want to look into borrower defense to repayment of student loans. And that's something that I do primarily for federal student loans, as I represent individuals for borrower defense. And still, there's been all the various private lawsuits or attorney general lawsuits against Navient and other student loan servicers, Sallie Mae, about, again, private student loans and federal student loan servicing errors. So there's still the slew of private student loan forgiveness that's from various settlements, again, mostly targeted to those who went to for-profit colleges. Your private student loans may get forgiven, and there's also going to be relief, again, either through borrower defense or through these negotiated settlements for your federal student loans. So as of right now, November 2022, the $10,000, $20,000 that the Biden administration that the Biden administration proposed is dead in the water, and probably is dead in the water well into next year. And so you need to, I think, be preparing to have your student loans go into repayment, although I think there's at least certainly a possibility that the Biden administration might extend the repayment pause. But you know, as of recording this video, that is an unknown factor. So That's what the heck is going on with federal student loans. My name is Matt Berkus. I'm a Colorado-based bankruptcy and student loan relief attorney. I offer bankruptcy to the residents of Colorado's, but I can assist people nationwide with student loans, and I offer initial phone consultations to discuss your student loan issues. Those cost $169. And I can usually get you pointed in the right direction for that phone call, and you don't normally need to hire us to do anything. But if your situation is more involved and complex, there's certainly things we can do, and we would discuss those during the consultation. Best of luck to you. Bye-bye.